Hi everybody, happy Friday night. Welcome to Friday Night Paint Therapy. You're on the DIY paint page and I'm Michelle from Serendipity House. I've just been fighting with my little camera stand here to try to get it all right, and it was tipping over, so I hope you're not wobbly. Say hello as you come on. I think I'm on two people. Tonight we're going to be taking some old cedar fencing and turning it into a farmhouse sign. We're going to be using DIY paint like a stain, and then we're going to be sealing and applying a farmhouse transfer using the craquelure stamp from IOD. Hello, hello. Yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm looking for myself here, and then we're going to go ahead and start. How's everybody doing on this Friday night? Is it fall, nice and cool fall? Or any of you in the hurricane area? My sister's in West Palm, but it sounds like they mostly were able to avoid everything there, which is great. I don't know how you guys live there. All right. I found myself up. Hey, Serafina and Michelle and John. Good to see you guys. All right, let's move myself over and see how this goes. So Serafina, I know I did a couple of boards on my page earlier this week, just kind of impromptu, and I'm doing the same thing now, except I'm going to go through and finish the project. So you've probably already seen this first part here. So this is cedar fencing from a friend of mine who took apart a fence. So these were like 8 or 10 foot tall boards that we took apart. I don't know how old they are, but they're very weathered. They're dirty. They've got, well, I've cleaned them off enough to paint them, but they're raw wood, and they've got, nail holes in them, and they're very rustic. And I think with a little bit of work, they make great signs, farmhouse signs. So I'll show you one of the other ones the next one that I move on to, on how I did the back, because this backing is, it's only half done. I need to put another brace on it. So basically all I've done is cut these down, and then trying to get into the frame here. So I cut these down. They're sanded. Even though this kind of wood is sanded, I've done this by mistake and gotten hurt. Always wipe it with a cloth because you can still splinter. I've gotten some in my hand and they don't feel good. All right, so have any of you used DIY paint as a stain before? What's great about doing that and using the DIY is the pigmentation is just amazing. So you really can still get great color. So the first thing that I do is I take a water bottle just to add some water to my raw wood, and this helps the grain open up because using it as a stain, I'm going to be wiping it back and hoping that it really soaks down into the wood. And I also spent the afternoon cleaning up tree limbs. Oh, Dawn, so you got some of the hurricane mess where you are. I'm glad that you guys are okay. All right, so I have mermaid tail. I've got other color sample boards I'm going to show you too. And this was almost gone, so I put water in it. So this is about 50-50 water to paint ratio. And wait till you see how bright it stays. That's a pretty high ratio. I mean, looks exactly the same. It doesn't change the color at all. So I'm basically taking that, and I'm just using a Klingon brush, and hopefully, I don't know why I put a white shirt on, but hopefully I won't get this all over myself. And I am just going to wipe this on. You could do this with any kind of brush. So the pigments are basically just staining the board, and they're going to soak right in there. I don't really work with cedar often, so I'm not sure. I mean, it has a pretty grain, but obviously there's really no furniture made from it, and that's usually what I'm working on. So I'm not really sure what the characteristics are. I want to get the nail holes filled in for the wood. I'm just thinking, I'm not sure if it you know, like some woods like pine, sometimes I'll get old pine boards, that really soaks up the color fast because it's a soft wood. And this is probably, because it was fencing, it probably has that it's probably treated with something too, so. I don't know what else you could maybe recycle this into, so that's why I think signs are a good thing. Look at that color. I'm hoping that we're gonna wipe some of this up. Oops, I see one of my hairs in here somehow. I'm hoping the grain is still gonna show through when I wipe this up, because this is a darker color than I usually use to do this. I love it. Hello from Texas. I love fall. It is so nice here now. It's nice and cool at night. Although I've just stopped sleeping with my window open because it's weird for this time of year, but I swear there's pollen out. My ears are clogged and popping and my head feels really weird, and it's gotta be whatever's outside. All right. I'm normally faster than this, but I'm really trying not to slop it because I don't want it on my white shirt, which was not a good choice. All right, I'm gonna get the ends here. So this really is not taking much paint. I'm still gonna have tons of this left for another project. And I use the watered down paint quite a lot actually, because I do watercolor with it and do my painted transfers with it. It's great. So even though I've done this in my can, it won't be wasted. So while I'm getting the edges here, let me tell you guys, do you know all about our new colors coming out? We have 9 new colors, and they are top secret and going to be revealed on Sunday on the Debbie's DIY paint page at 10 o'clock Pacific time. And at that time, she's going to reveal some of the colors and reveal the rest of them at 11 o'clock. And then all day long on this page, there are going to be retailers doing projects with the new colors. I'm assuming since it's the new colors, I don't have the schedule yet, but that can't start obviously until after the color reveal. So it'll be after 10 o'clock Pacific time. And I just got my colors the day before yesterday. They are amazing and beautiful and vibrant, and the color names are fabulous. And I cannot wait. I'm going live at 6 o'clock on Sunday night. But they are also all going to be available to purchase by retailers. The DIY paint site website actually is not going to be carrying them for the first month. Only retailers are. So they'll be in shops and online. And I actually already have them online in sets of 9, but you don't know what the colors are. So if you want to buy some, then you have to buy blind, which is kind of exciting. All right, I'm going to spray a little more water on this so I can wipe. I want to have the grain show through. This is a little darker. I'm really surprised at all the pigmentation here. There we go. So this is quite a messy project, I guess, because anytime you're adding paint and then taking it off. So I kind of interrupted myself. So if you have any questions about the new paint colors, then please ask. Don't ask what colors they are or what the name is, because I can't tell you. So lots of these shop cloths you need. So so this is showing through some of the brown and some of the gray. Isn't that kind of cool there? And then these weird spots I'm thinking is where it was kind of pressure treated or treated with something, because they're not part of the paint. All right, so also with these projects, this is the kind of thing that I prep up ahead of time. So like I'll do a sign workshop, but they can't do this technique because because of all the water that you're putting in your wood, you really have to let it dry before you seal it. So you can't, you shouldn't be putting your big top or your wax over the top of this paint when it's this wet. So at least a day because of all the water that I have squirt on here. And then I seal it with big top and then do my transfer, my stamping and the sign part. And that's what we're going to do next because I've got a couple boards that I've already prepped so we can do the next part. All right, so I'm already covered, so I'm just gonna pick this up and show you guys a little closer how pretty this came out. So this is the mermaid tail. And well, I like these boards also because they were different colors. This is gonna dry with a lot of color variation in it. So I'm gonna put this aside and I will seal it tomorrow. All right, let me try to wipe my hands off a little bit before I pick up the ones that I've got finished, just so I don't get fingerprints on them. Yes, these are all water-based products. And the paints only have 9 ingredients, so they're natural, and the the main ingredients are clay and chalk and water, of course, and even the top coats and the waxes have, I believe the waxes have 7 ingredients, so it's all very environmentally friendly, and I use these year-round inside. All right, so moving this aside. All right, so the 2 that I have prepped ahead of time, I'll show you the 2, and then you guys can pick the color. It doesn't matter which one I do now. So this one is done in Farm Fresh. Or no, I'm sorry, Skeleton Key I used. Yep, Skeleton Key. And it is sealed already with the big top. I did this the same way I did the other board, and I did let it dry 24 hours. I look funny with my head cut off a little bit there. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the back. So this is the fencing, and I just took 2 pieces of the fencing and just cut it down, and this is glued and drilled right in. So if you can pick up pallets or old used fencing and you've got time to, you've got some tools and time to cut up, these really make great signs. They're good craft projects. Okay, so that one is Skeleton Key. And this one I absolutely love because so much of the wood came through it. So this is White Swan, our whitest white. Again, it's done with the big top over the top of it. But I look at the gray that's coming through, and I think that looks really cool. All right, so you guys can pick which one of those colors we're gonna do tonight, and I'll show you what we're gonna put on it. So we've got an Iron Orchid Designs transfer, and this one is made with these 3 sayings on them, and so they should hopefully fit perfectly on my board. Now if they don't, we can cut the outline up. With this fencing, because we had to pry off like some really huge pieces in the back, sometimes the size of them is kind of predetermined a little bit, like I couldn't get them any wider than I got them. Okay, I'm just making a mess everywhere. All right, so here is what these look like, and we're going to use one of these. So if anybody has any votes, the rest of the stuff that I don't use, I'm just going to use at a workshop. So we have sweet cream, wild honey, and fresh eggs, and I can put it on the white or I can put it on the Skeleton Key. And that's what's happening now. All right, white. Yes, the waxes are water-based. There is some, I could read you what it says on the can actually before, I don't want to answer incorrectly, but the wax does not have solvents in it, and the solvents are the chemicals that make the wax dry. So our waxes, they don't dry quickly, usually a couple hours or overnight, unlike other waxes with solvents that dry in like a half an hour. They don't smell. I use them inside all the time. They don't give you a headache. Sometimes those heavy smells can affect you. All right, so I had a vote for white swan, so that's what we're gonna do. Fresh eggs on white. Okay, Linda. Oh, wild honey. Fresh sweet cream. I love it when there's a wild honey. Okay, I hear 2 for wild honey. Wild honey is the winner. These are so pretty. I am officially on a white kick now because, well, I like white anyways, I have to say. I like white and I love bright color. I like both. But I'm trying to do more white and add a little bit of balance to like my shop space to see if, I was on a color kick, so I'm trying to see if the color is part of the problem with why people aren't buying huge, big pieces of furniture. You know, are you more likely to buy a turquoise bureau or a white one? I'm thinking the answer might be white, but we'll see. It's an experiment. All right, this is one of the older, it's not old, but it's one of the older designs before they put the grid on. So you'll notice the grid lines aren't on this, but it's not like it's hard to cut straight anyways. Okay, so we can either center this or cut it up. I think actually it looks okay centered. What do you think? And then I'm going to use the, that makes me realize for my workshops, I probably only need to make these 2 boards wide. I don't know why I made it so wide, but good to know. I'm going to add the cracklier stamp to it. So we'll center, what do you guys think? I totally don't know why I made it so wide. I mean so tall. Okay, let's just move on. That's one of those things that I'm like, I must have measured the whole thing instead of, and where's my stick? Instead of just one piece of it without thinking. Okay, so because we have the big top on here already, and it'll make this transfer easier to come off. Transfer. All right, let's see if I can do this without us tipping over. Okay. Centered. Okay, I'm gonna go with centered, but it seems like a lot of wasted boards. Okay, so this is going to, it's gonna go down right in the middle of a seam, which is fine. And I'll make it work. Let me just make sure I've got it on straight. It's not like the boards are, oops. Wow, okay, hopefully this will be sticky since that just happened. Let me grab some tape. I'm a little worried now about that. I do love this effect. I have a table, big round oak table that I bought that somebody else painted, and of course the paint is chipping off, so I'm redoing it. And I'm thinking this is kind of a little bit, the colors of this white and gray blend remind me a little bit of the Restoration Hardware look. And I was thinking of doing that on that table, and this makes me love it, want to do it even more because it's so pretty. Of course the table isn't cedar, and that's a lot of what's coming through is probably the chemicals and the dirt from the cedar, so I just got what I got, and I was lucky, right? All right, so you just, the stick comes in with the transfer, and you just rub. If you can catch some air, make sure you guys can see this okay. If you can catch some air on the end here, an air bubble will help it release, although it's kind of harder to do that with letters and you know, the smaller pieces. It's much easier to catch the air bubble and have it release in one big sheet if you are using one of the big floral ones, just because, you know, you're rubbing off more mass, you know, a bigger And I can see this is sometimes if the letter slips, it comes unaligned and it doesn't look very good, so you gotta just be careful. And I tend to sometimes work fast and carelessly, so I'm gonna put extra tape here. Put some travel dashes. What are travel dashes? Oh, I should have read this for, yes, I do have the B stamp. Finding it because it's in a big thing of cut up stamps would be the trick, but I don't need to finish that whole part of it tonight, do I? I knew, I'm gonna use the cracklier stamp because I think a little bit of that would look good right on this because it's aged and just because of the finish of it in the wood. I thought that might go well. I'm not sure I'm loving this outline. Let's see if that's transferring. If it's not, I might just skip it. It is, okay. Didn't look like it was. I think this is gonna be pretty. And it goes with my white theme. As soon as I've got half of it done, I'll lift the end up so you guys can see. Okay, so I always forget until this happens that I want to bring tweezers here because this just lifted. And the only way really to get these pieces back, I think, is if you can, so a piece of this came off and moved and I don't want it to go inside and not line up, so I just took it off. But I think the only way to really get that where you want it when it folds or sticks to the back is a pair of tweezers, because if you try to pick it up with your fingers, it just sticks to your fingers. All right, let's see. Get the corner not sticking. This is the part I'm worried about, is this little thin strip. Oh, see, it happened again right there. I'm gonna not press it down and see if I can either remove it. You know, that's what I like about the fact that these are all distressed and not like perfect lines, is if you miss a piece like that or misplace it, it's not noticeable because that's kind of the way the design is. And with most of them, if you do mess up, you can also go back and fill in with a little bit of paint. That's easy to do. All right, so you guys can see where I messed up here and what that looks like. I'm just gonna press this down. I'm gonna go to the other side of the table. So you just see my hands here. Just leave the jar and be completely out. It's too late. See, I'm working, I'm not reading, so I'm missing some of these ideas. But, you know, I love those ideas because I have, if you have got a smaller, you know, on a smaller piece of wood or whatever it is that you're working with, I've had a stool, I've put these on where they didn't fit. And so I just cut it up to fit. And that's what's great about these, is they're just very versatile. And I think very forgiving. And I also think that these letter ones are much harder to use than the bigger ones. Like I said, I usually do not have to rub this hard. I'm trying to catch air, but what happens with the letters is they just move, so that's not what you want. And also, since we're going to use the cracklier stamp, we can cover up some of these spots where I slid. We can disguise them a little bit. There we go. I think I'm just about done with this. So ooh, shoot. I'm so good at what not to do. All right. Do you guys see what I just did? Do you see the W? Look, I'm going to share my mistakes with you and we'll see if we can fix it. See the W? I lifted it up and it also lifted up part that was stuck and not stuck. So here we go. We're going to troubleshoot. Keeping it real, guys. Just keeping it real. All right. This is where the tweezers would come in handy. All right, so I got that part back on, and I might lose this piece. Let's see if I can. Or not. I don't know. It's sticking to my finger, even though I try to get it on with my fingernail. All right, so I think I fixed it. All right, I think I got it good enough. Phew! It's very stressful when that happens. And it's usually because you're moving too fast. Like I just lifted that up and I wasn't even looking at what it was going to pull up with it. And the painter, if you use painter's tape, it should not be lifting anything up. So the big top is nice and strong, so it's not gonna, it's gonna protect your finish. All right, and this little spot there. I'm gonna make it. Yes. Okay. Phew, that was kind of stressful. All right, now I am going to go in with my fingers. Now this wood is obviously much more rough than with all of these. I mean, you can totally feel the grain is all textured. So it's much more rough than normally when you're putting this on a nice piece or of furniture or a nice finished board that's smooth. This is definitely not that. And that could also be part of the reason why it's harder to release, for the transfer to release, because I'm putting it, you know, it's going in a bunch of little ridges. And because of that, actually, I think I'm going to get my steel wool and rub that in really well to make sure that it's in. And then we're going to, oh, I gotta fix that. And then we're going to do the cracklier stamp. Okay, so I have a piece of white steel wool here. It's normally in like a pad. I think this is half of a pad. And this is what I do for, actually, what am I going to do about that? Is that going to, oh, look, it came up. Okay. Repeating what I said before about not getting splinters. All right, so this is what I use to, it's 0000 steel wool white, and I'm just gonna try to rub this or burnish it into my surface. It does pick up little pieces that you miss, so that's why you need to go over it with your hands. So if you have anything that's curling or lifting, it's, you know, you have to go slow because it could take up that whole thing. This isn't much, it's just taking up little bits. You can't see it. And this is how you know that you're not going to get, you're going to make sure it's down all the way so that when you seal it again, you're not going to get sealer over underneath. So see how much that took off? All right, so that's why that's important. That's my trick. Okay, cracklier stamp. Moving right along here. Let's try not to dump this. Okay. So I don't have any of you used the cracklier stamp before. So this is part of a sheet because I cut it up. So they're like 12 by 12 sheets, and it mimics the crackle without having to use like the layers of the crackle medium. So usually when you get crackle, I don't know if any of you like use milk paint. I use milk paint a lot as well. And if you want to get crackle with Debbie's paint, then all you have to do is like a heat gun. That'll crackle it. The thicker you get, the bigger the crackles are. These are small crackles, which you're most likely to find in the older furniture. The crazing and the crackles in the furniture will look more like this. So what's showing through then, when you pick this color, is whatever color is underneath this white, the color that you picked, that you put on top. So this is going to look like it's coming through from underneath. So I'm wondering if I chose the right color here. I had planned on doing weathered wood, but I think a gray would work as well. But I also want to make sure it's has contrast with the lettering here, which is pretty much black, a dark gray or black. So I think I'm going to use a weathered wood for this. That's what I'm going to start next. So you only need a little tiny bit. I think I'll get a brush because I'm more likely to dump out way more than I need. Okay. So I'm just going to get a little bit here. Can always get more. The steel wool I buy at the hardware store or Amazon. Okay, so this stamp is still, like I said, I cut pieces off because you also can use it in small pieces, but this is one of the stamps that, because it doesn't come in pieces of a pattern that you need to put out, I kept the backing on it. So that kind of helps you grab it. I just kept the backing sheet that came on it when I bought the stamp. Okay, I've got a brayer. You just want to make sure you're evenly. All right, and I've used brushes before too, but the reason I like the brayer is because you want to make sure. And I'm not going to do the whole thing because I want this kind of random. But you want to make sure that you're getting your paint on the top of the stamp and it doesn't fall into the crevices or you're going to lose your definition. And actually, I see a couple spots where I may have loaded a little too much, but you can see what I mean. If you're looking at it, you can kind of see, you see all the blank spots. Well, that's all down underneath. Okay. So now I'm going to put this kind of randomly. I didn't do the whole thing. Where do I? Oh, it's so stressful before you drop your. All right, I'm putting it down. I'm committing. You want to make sure for it not to wiggle. And then really, usually I hold it still with one hand, and with the other one, I'm just gently pressing, tickling. Because subtlety really is what makes this stamp work. So let's see. Hopefully I nailed it. All right. Let's keep going and then I'll show it to you close up. I think that was the right color. Any of you used this stamp before? It's I love layering, and so this is one of the tools that I love in the layering process because it just gives more dimension to your project. Oh, Michelle, you're so sweet. I'm glad you learned things. I talk a lot. When I'm done with this, I'm always exhausted. My husband was saying, I don't know how you could do it. How do you even know what to talk about? And I'm like, well, I'm just talking about what I'm doing. So I try really hard to be instructional. That's just my style. I'm kind of a teacher. I have a educational background and a mental health background, and I'm always the one who's like, well, why? I like to know why, because that helps you to figure out things on your own for next time. Like, you know, if I didn't tell you what to do, like, why is she doing that weird little tickle thing on the transfer? Well, it's so you don't smush all your paint off and get. All right, so now we're going to do the spots that I missed on the top, and it's looking really good. And I guess what I have to decide next is, does it look like I have a lot of useless space? Because I did make the board too tall. You know, I could have definitely done with 2 boards, or 3 probably would be perfect. Let's turn it, and I want to try not to overlap too. Even though this is random, you don't want to have anything look patterned, so it would look pretty busy if I accidentally, you know, overlap the stamp, I think. I think actually this paint is just drying out fast. All right, so don't forget, as I'm doing this, if you came in late, that the reveal for the new colors is on Debbie's Design Diary Facebook page at 10 o'clock on Sunday. I don't want to make a mistake here. 10 o'clock on Sunday, Pacific time. So that's 1 o'clock for our Eastern time. We gotta wait a little longer. Oh, wow, that's a lot of crackle there. And then on this page, all day long after 10 o'clock Pacific, there are going to be live showing the new colors and some new products. I'm live at 6, and then I'm actually going to go live noon on Monday on my page, Serendipity House, and you know, do a longer, bigger project. All right, I'm going to see. Let's see. I'm doing this just because oh, look at my ring. I got turquoise paint all over my ring. That's not good. All right, I think it's good. I can always fill in some spots where it didn't get a lot, but whoops, I'm going backwards. I don't want to show you what the crackle looks like. And my guess is it's already dry, but because I'm not sure if I'm doing anything else to this, I'm going to hold off on sealing it because I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's see. Let me try to mess with the camera here, and you can let me. All right, so so you can take it all in as a whole. The reason I buy the white steel wool, Kathy, is because it is the finest steel wool, and I don't know why I just started using white instead of the other one, because this is this feels differently. It doesn't have the, it doesn't feel like it's made of wire, so it might be. All right, so too much white space, you let me know. I gotta decide that. But anyways, I think the crackle looks awesome. But that's why I use the white. I could try the other. I think I'd be afraid of it coming off though, and like coloring my, coming off of my project. I've never had that happen. Because I've never changed from the white. Any questions? I'm glad you guys tuned in and watched. I love that you guys are here on Friday nights. I'm back again next Friday night. My schedule got it's every other week, but it's 2 weeks in a row because last week Susan and Isidore filled in for me from the Wither Barn because I took my daughter to college. So I'm back next week at 8 o'clock. I have no idea what I'm doing. I think I've got 2 or 3 lives planned between now and then. So, you know, one day at a time. All right. The crackle is called the Craquelier stamp. It's got a funky spelling, like a French spelling, but it's an IOD. Any of the stuff, the Iron Orchid Design products and the DIY paint, including the new colors in sets of 9 without you knowing what colors they are available right now on my website, serendipity.house. So have an awesome weekend. I hope you guys enjoy all the fun stuff that DIY Paint has planned for the weekend. I'm excited. I love new colors. And I'll see you guys soon. All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye, guys.